All right, so I managed to outrun a crab. I was
With
supposed
the
to fight it. I didn't.
with the assistance of Monty and his distraction abilities, yes, you did.
Do I need to actually like make a list of tricks that I would have taught him? Because I didn't actually make that, but it seems like distract is a pretty easy thing to teach
Yeah,
an animal.
and yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that too much. If something, basically, I'm gonna do it from a role playing perspective. So based on what you've told me about Monty, if you ask him to do something that would just be a bit of a stretch, then maybe we'll take it from there. But
Okay.
I'm pretty much considering him to be pretty capable. So the last we had left off, you had an encounter along the beach trail on this peninsula that you're walking out onto, away from the town of Blackshore, as you're
Mhm.
heading toward a lighthouse that you've been told to contact the family of rock gnomes that supposedly lives there. And while you were on this trail, you had the encounter with a crab who had apparently created a lair inside of a beach fishing vessel, about which you, after investigating, learned some rather ominous sounding information. You managed to then evade the wrath of said giant crab, which is really a giant crab. It was about 8 feet in diameter.
Oh,
And it
pincers the size of me.
was a big damn crab, and you managed to evade it with a little bit of distraction from your faithful companion Monty, and you continued on your way. It's it's past mid morning now. It's coming up on noon. The sun is quite high in the sky. It's high summer. The sun is really starting to scorch down now. It's becoming a really warm day. You're starting to perspire. It's becoming noticeably more difficult of a walk with the oppressive heat of the sun beating down. So the sea breezes do seem to help a little bit. They seem to kind of gust in every now and again and cool you off a little bit. They seem to be coming from the north and heading to the south. So as you're walking, it'd be from your left to your right. And the right hand side, the south side of the shore was the shore that was the beach where you encountered the crab. So it was
Yep.
on the very south shore of the peninsula.
Yep.
And so it seems to you that these trade winds seem to kind of circulate in from the north and go down to the south. So that seems to be the pattern here. That does help a bit.
Mhm.
Uh, as you continue to walk, you finally do see something in the distance, getting closer. It appears to be it's kind of hazy a little bit, with the sun beating down, kind of coming off the ocean. There's probably a good amount of humidity at that point, but it appears to be through this kind of sheen of haze. You can see a very tall white tower, blinding white, in fact, as you get closer to it.
Mhm.
And at the very top of it, you see something green and sparkly
Okay.
at the very top of the tower. As you continue on, um, you would estimate that you're going to probably arrive there right about almost exactly at noon. So when the sun is highest in the sky.
It was like a 4 to 6 hour walk, probably.
No, it was maybe two to three or so.
All right, then I was slow.
Yeah. Well, you did stop to engage with the crab, so that delayed you a little bit, and then also, um, being a gnome, you are a little bit slower. It would probably only take it'd be maybe a 2 hour walk for a big folk, whereas it's going to take you a little bit longer. So you continue to approach, and it gets clearer and clearer as you get closer and closer. It is a large tower. It seems to be over 100 feet tall, and it's quite thick. As you get fairly close, you notice that it's not cylindrical. It appears to have faceted sides.
Okay.
And at the very top, you see what looks like an enclosure of some sort, enclosed by a combination of, it must be woodwork because it's too delicate to be stonework. Woodwork with glass windows inside of it, and inside of the windows you can see that sparkling green something or other. It's inside the enclosure, and it's coming through the glass windows.
Okay. Weird.
Right. You continue to approach.
Yep.
Okay. You get within easy shouting distance, and you can pretty much see it pretty clearly now. And you notice that it sits on a low, rocky escarpment. It's only maybe 2 or 3 feet above the flat beach and seagrass terrain that you've been walking through up until this point. So there's this rocky kind of almost a plateau, but very low, but only like 2 or 3 feet higher, that all of this sits on. And you see that it's a little complex consisting of the tower itself, which is quite large. You estimate it has to be over 100 feet tall.
Mhm.
And in diameter, it would be something like 60 feet. It's quite large.
Yeah, that's a house.
And from what you can see from this side, it appears to be hexagonal in structure. So the faceted sides, you're looking at them and you only see 3 of them from this side, but you imagine that if you were to go around the tower, it would have 3 more sides, making it a hexagon, just from how it looks. And there's the trail continues, and it leads up kind of to the right of the tower, and then kind of goes out of sight around the side of the tower a little bit. You do see that there's a scattering of outbuildings, lower outbuildings around the tower as well. None of them are clustered close to the tower, but they're all kind of clustered around in the vicinity of it. All shapes and sizes. You see there's only a couple of them that are 2 stories. Most of them are low 1-story buildings, but it varies anything from in size, anywhere from like a shed. It's basically it must be like a tool shed or something, you would imagine. It's that small, all the way up to like a house, the size of like a normal house. So it's a variety of them, and you can't even count them all from here. You would imagine there's over a dozen of them. You imagine there's probably more that you can't see from this vantage point either. And very soon, very close to the outer edge of this complex of buildings is where the peninsula actually comes to an end. So it's all just sea after that. Out to the horizon is just nothing but water.
Do any of the buildings look like where I'm from? Because we did a lot of the experimentation of hey, this is where you learn how to do explosions today. This is what scorch marks look like. Do I see any evidence of that in near any of the buildings at a glance?
Make a perception check.
17.
17? I'm sorry, was that
How
17?
it starts. Yes, 17.
Okay, good. Nothing looks like it would be purpose built for that kind of thing. You do look, and some of the buildings, and with a 17, I'll say this: all of the buildings are hexagonal in shape.
Huh.
All of the outbuildings, as well as the tower, are hexagonal. And you do notice that some of them have a strange sort of modeling to them, to the outer surface. It almost kind of from where you're standing from, which is a good distance though. It kind of almost looks like snakeskin
Yep.
with that kind of a gray. So it's all white. Everything here is whitewashed, the tower and everything. But some of the outbuildings, the tower itself is brilliant, gleaming white. But some of the outbuildings have this weird sort of modeling pattern to it that kind of reminds you of snakeskin almost. And it's blacks and grays mixed in with the white.
Hmm. Okay, it has been noted. Okay.
What would you like to do? You're
Um,
about 60, 70 feet away at this point.
I would like to close the distance at like 30 feet and then ask in a very loud voice if anybody's here.
Okay. So you yell out, hello. Nothing. You know,
Ah,
hear anything, and you see no movement or figures or people or anything.
so I'm approaching from the back side of the lighthouse then, correct?
You're approaching from the landward side, so yeah,
Yeah.
that would be kind of the backside, yeah.
And the lighthouse has windows all around it, so I'd be able. Is the
Yeah,
windows thin enough for me to see through and see if there's anybody moving in there?
yeah. So it's all the windows are all around it, but only at the very top. The rest of the lighthouse is just featureless wall. Doesn't seem to have any windows. You look up at the very top, and all you see is you don't see any movement or anything like that. No silhouettes. All you can see is that green, sparkling sort of effect going on.
Do I smell anything?
Just the ocean, sun on the speeding down on the sand,
Huh,
salt, a little bit of fishy tang to the air.
huh. Nothing burning. No like muffins in the background somewhere. Like
Nope,
muffins. All right,
nope.
I'm gonna progress. So from the ground, you said that there is light traffic sometimes. Does it appear that there's more compression on the ground going towards the door?
Good question. Make a survival check.
13.
Yeah, this trail, it's probably about evenly. The trail itself is probably about evenly passed over with the trail that you've been following. You do notice that the grounds of the tower are pretty beaten down and sparse vegetation, like as if there's a lot of traffic, that mills about up there, or at least like uses that area frequently. So there does seem to be a good amount of foot traffic on this sort of rocky plateau that the complex sits on.
All right, I'm gonna try not to get exploded or lit on fire or ambushed by just walking towards the building.
Okay.
Oh, the goal is maybe to knock on the door. I'm gonna say like, I'm Torrid Wobblecog. Is anybody here?
So the trail that you're following kind of goes around. It swerves to the right a little bit, and you follow that, and it goes around the tower. And from where you were, it's out of sight. But as you continue around the bulk of the tower, with the bulk of the tower to your left, and continue around, it comes into it very quickly. The trail very quickly sort of widens out into an area of pretty bare packed sand, right in front of a large, very large, well above the size needed for gnomes. It's even bigger than the size that would be needed for humans or elves or big folk races like that. It's probably about 12 to 14 feet high, double doors set into the base of the tower. And they are made of wood, The wood parts have been, from what you can see, they've been painted white, and then it's reinforced with metal, with what it looks like iron bands as well. Those have not been painted.
Is there evidence, you said we're on hard packed sand, that any of the buildings in the area were recently opened?
Opened as in,
Like if you open a door, there might be like a scuff mark on the ground or like where sand has moved.
sure. So the doors into the tower sits on like a stone lintel. So there's almost like a concrete pad type of deal right in front of it, made out of cobblestones.
Okay.
What you'd have to inspect that pretty closely to see
Nah,
if the doors scraped it up or whatever.
not too terribly important. Her famous last words. Go on.
You kind of scan around a little bit, real very quickly as well. The outer buildings, like I said, they don't cluster right around the tower itself, but they're fairly close. The closest one is probably only maybe 20, 25 feet away. And you can see doors in these as well, much smaller, less ornate doors, also whitewashed, painted white. It looks like there's a nice coat of paint on all of these. Every door you can see has a nice coat of paint on it.
Nice. Do I see an entrance to the actual tower?
Yeah, that double doors is in the basement.
Okay. I would like to knock on those doors.
All right. Thump, 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 thump. Wait a second. Make a perception check.
15.
15.
I like this die. I'm gonna keep this die.
After waiting for a few seconds, you do hear what sounds like bells chiming. And it seems to be coming from behind the door.
I'm gonna wait for a second. I want to break in on a fellow gnome. That's not polite.
All right.
Once things get quiet, I'm gonna knock on it again.
Okay. You're just about ready to start knocking again when you hear from behind. You hear from the door itself. Something just lurched behind the door, and
I'm jumping backwards.
You actually saw the doors kind of move a little bit. It does it again, and you hear click, click, and the doors, both of them, open outward towards you. So you already stepped back, so you're well out of reach of being hit in the face with the door.
Yes.
And you see standing before you a male gnome. He's also a rock gnome. Blonde hair, clean shaven. He's wearing white robes with what appear to be a whole bunch of pockets all over them. He's quite tall for a gnome. He's probably approaching 5 foot tall. He's quite a big gnome, but he's very skinny. He doesn't appear to be very muscular. He's just very beanpole-ish. And he seems to be pretty young as well. Oh, and he kind of you can see he kind of as he's standing there, he kind of does this sort of bouncing thing from one foot to another, almost like a nervous habit. He kind of bounces back and forth from one foot, and he doesn't. You kind of get the impression right away that he doesn't stand perfectly still, like ever. And he looks at you, and he's looking down at you because you're not quite as tall as him. Oh, well, hello. This was definitely not what I was expecting when I opened the doors. Well, how can I help you?
So Kelta sent me to help out the village here. Kelta Blackhorn.
Oh, yes.
I'm Torin.
Been waiting for you, Torin. Well, how nice to meet you. My name is Goldrin Glimmerglass, and I'm currently on watch duty for this here lighthouse that you see before you. Well, what am I doing? I'm forgetting my manners. Come in, please.
This is Monty BTW. He won't hurt anything.
Oh, well, that's certainly good to know. Well, you can come in as well. How do you go ahead and go in?
Yes.
Okay. So you walk in, and you're in sort of a what you would call a foyer, perhaps. It's fairly large, and there are some on the perimeter of the walls. There are a number of small benches and tables. And there are things you can see like some boots, some dirty boots kind of stuffed under a few of them here and there. There's some coat hooks on the walls with some old cloak, what appear to be old cloaks hanging from them. Directly in front of you, there is an archway that leads further into the building. No door, just the archway. And there are a number of, on one of the tables, there's a number of bowls and pitchers and so forth. Well, do come in, bring Monty. I really wasn't given a whole lot of instruction on what to do when you got here. And he shuts he swings the two double doors shut behind
Mhm.
you. They make quite a lot of noise. You think they could probably use some oil on the hinges. And he closes it and he latches two large, complicated looking latching mechanisms on the inside. And so, yeah, I don't really deal with that kind of thing, but I was told that you were coming. I can set you up with, how was your walk?
Good. Good. We ran into a giant crab, and I'm holding this giant tooth this entire time because it's huge. And the boat went down, but it wasn't my boat. And I found this in it. Other than that, it was just a stroll.
A giant crab. Was it
Yeah.
orange and yellow crab?
Yes.
Okay, that's a fireface.
That sounds dangerous.
They are quite dangerous, yes.
Okay. I run well with these tiny legs.
Yeah, they're not the fastest things in the world. Where did you meet up with one of these?
Like right outside of town, and I describe how long the walk was.
Okay.
We saw that a very large, I mean, like a 4-person-ish boat was capsized on the beach, and part of it was eaten. And I don't think the people are alive. But I wanted to go check to see if anybody needed help, and I found a crab.
Wait, eaten, you say?
I
Firefaces
mean,
don't eat boats.
I showed the tooth. This ate the ship. The fireface was just living in the ship.
Wait, that so that looks like a shark tooth.
I don't know.
A shark ate the boat.
I don't know.
That would be one truly enormous shark.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Makes me doubt my confidence being on waterways.
that's not good. Okay. So this isn't really my area, but I think we should probably notify the Blackshore, the town council, probably, or at least the watch.
Okay.
Okay.
You look nervous.
You know what? Let's get you settled in here, and then that might be something that you see. So come inside. You've been walking for a while, I take it. So let's get you some water and maybe some food, and then we'll figure out what
It
to
is
do.
hot. It's hot outside right now.
Okay. And you notice that it's considerably cooler inside. You notice
Yes.
that. Okay. So come inside. And he kind of leads you through the archway further into the building. And the first room that you come to appears to be some sort like a dining area. It's a small. It kind of looks. This one in particular that he leads you to looks kind of informal. You do see through an open door on one side of this chamber. You can kind of look in and see it appears to be a much more formal dining area through this door. But the one that you're in is much smaller. It appears to be like a family dining area, perhaps.
Hmm.
And there's a dining table there, a wooden dining table and chairs. And he says, "Go ahead, sit down. I'll bring out some water. Do you prefer ale or wine, perhaps? I have water in any case."
Water's fine. Water's fine. We've been exercising real hard. And Monty also doesn't like the alcoholic beverages. So
Great,
water's fine for us.
great, great. Did you need anything to eat? I'm sure I can round up some mutton or perhaps some chicken real
Do you have
quickly.
any bread products? I like bread products.
Okay, yep, certainly, yep, I can certainly do that. And he kind of rushes out through another door, another smaller door off to one side. And he comes back fairly quickly. It only takes him a couple of minutes. He's got a couple of pitchers, sets them on the table, a couple of bowls, sets them on the table, and then he has a much larger a woven basket, quite a large one with probably you would imagine like half a dozen to 8 full loaves of bread in it. And he sets it all down.
Wow.
Go ahead.
That's a lot of
Dig in. Here, I'll pour a bowl, and he pours a bowl of water, and he sets it on the floor for Monty.
that's a lot of bread. Were you expecting like a feast or something? That's a lot of bread.
We keep a big stock. We're a big family. I'll get to that in a moment. Let me just gather my thoughts here because this is really a lot unexpected visitors and unexpected news all in one day. Okay. Are you going to go ahead and eat and drink while
Yeah,
he's?
yeah. I'm gonna sit and eat and drink it. I'm trying to find the I'm looking around the room and trying to figure out the source of the green shimmer that I saw from outside the building.
Okay. You don't see anything green in here. Anything with that green sparkling, you can't. In fact, you don't see that at all in here. It seemed to be coming from the windows behind up at the very top of the tower.
Okay.
And you don't see anything like that in here. All right, then. So we definitely need to alert the authorities in town. I'm going to ask you to do that at some point here once we get you settled in. How's the bread, by the way? Is it to your
It is
satisfaction?
delicious. I have like a giant chunk of it in my mouth.
Good.
Crumbs everywhere.
Okay. See, I'm on watch for this particular period of time. Sometimes I don't know how long that's going to be. So I'm in charge of the lighthouse. I'm in charge of the light. I can't really leave here. And the rest of the family, though we're a large family, they kind of come and go on their own projects. So there's nobody here right now but me and my sister and one of our cousins. Well, I'm not even going to bother my cousin because nobody bothers him. And my sister probably wouldn't be the best person to send down an errand like that. So, yeah, I think maybe it's got to be you.
Okay.
If you need some help or something, I can give you plenty of food and water and point you in the right direction and everything. But yeah, I think it's something that you're going to have to do.
I think I would like to settle into my space if that's all right, and then maybe wait for the sun to go down a little bit, like later in the afternoon, and making the walk back. That actually might not be wise. I want to make it back before dark. When would you recommend leaving?
I would say if you want to get back before dark, I would say you would want to leave no later than about dinner time or so. Maybe eat a light dinner perhaps and then head it out. You should be fine.
Okay. Were you guys expecting any boats in this area on this side of the shoreline? Because it was an okay sized boat that was crashed, and I was wondering if anybody was missing as well.
That would be something to ask the watch or
Okay.
the town authorities. Boats, regular boats don't come here very much. The only boats that come here would be if we specifically ask them to come here for some reason, or if they're specifically supplying us with something.
Okay. All right, cool. Um, I have a question about your lighthouse.
Okay.
Goldrin?
Goldrin, yes.
Goldrin?
Goldrin.
Goldrin.
With a G.
Um,
Goldrin Glimmerglass.
so this is the biggest lighthouse I've ever been in, possibly the only lighthouse I've ever been in. I don't really remember well sometimes. And when we were walking up here, I saw a green shimmer on parts of the building, parts of the glass, and I was wondering what that was. That was very curious.
That's the light. That's the light that we, well, it's not the light itself, obviously. That's the focusing crystal that we use to project the light out so that it can be seen.
Very cool. One of the reasons why they sent me out here is to kind of catalog things for science that might be unfamiliar. So if you would have time, like before dinner time, you said that you're going to be here anyway. Can I get a really nice tour? I'm looking forward to this. There's a lot of mechanical things going on, and I look at the door if I can see it from my current room.
Oh, the latches on the door, the front door.
I want to inspect those because they seem neat.
Okay, I can give you a tour of a few things. A lot of the tower is private chambers for various family members, so obviously we can't go in there.
Yep.
But yeah, some of the common spaces I can certainly show you. If you want to see the crystal, I can show you that.
Ah, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I suppose I should send you to, speaking of private spaces, I suppose I should show you your room.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, right now, are you done eating? Or do you feel okay? Do you want to digest for a minute?
Can I walk and talk with this piece of bread? Would that be considered rude in your household?
I mean,
I stuff it in my pocket. I'm ready.
that's fine. I mean, the house elves will just have to clean up the crumbs and whatnot, but I mean, that's kind of what they're there for. So,
I'll just stick it in my pocket. Ready?
all right. Okay, let's go right now then. This way. And he leads you through another door coming off this chamber, and it takes you through a long hallway that curves around several times. And you kind of, without being able, there's no windows or anything like that, so you kind of imagine that it must be like in a spiral shape, and kind of circling in toward the center of the tower. Lining the walls of this chamber, which are all stone, on the inside, they're all gray dressed stone. There are a large number of portraits of painted portraits of rock gnomes, spaced maybe every 6 feet or so, something like that. Various sizes. There are ones that are damn near floor to ceiling, and there are ones that are much smaller, that are only maybe the size of a human face. They're quite a bit smaller, and they depict nothing but rock gnomes. And they kind of traverses the entire length of this spiraling hallway. And you come at the end of the hallway. It opens up into a spiral staircase going up. And it seems to go up, probably straight up the center of the tower.
Mm-hmm.
You're guessing is probably the core of the tower itself. All right, well, we've got 12 flights to go up, so let's get started. And you start climbing.
Am I noticing that he's got really strong legs?
He bounces up like boing, 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 boing. That's the
time he saves.
That's the impression you get. You actually kind of half expect him to make the noise boing, 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 boing because of the way he kind of springs up the stairs.
I'm gonna leave my backpack and tell Monty you to stay down because I don't want to carry more crap up here, especially if I have more walking to do today.
You lighten your load a little bit, set it off to the side. Goldrin doesn't make any comment when he sees you do this. And Monty kind of curls up and seems to be grateful for a little bit of rest.
True.
Not having to go up the 12 flights of stairs. And the two rock gnomes continue up the spiral staircase. And you get to the top. And one of the things you notice is from this side, in certain places, you can see outside. Now, you didn't notice any windows from the outside, but there are places here in the wall that seem to be windows. And you think that's kind of weird, so you kind of look a little bit closer, and it appears to you that these are transparent stone blocks. That's what it looks like to you, that you can look outside. So you're not sure why you can't see it from the other side, but you can actually see through what appear to be stone blocks. There appears to be something there in the shape of stone blocks, but it's see-through.
Goldrin!
Yes?
It's like 5 stories ahead of me. Are these transparent stone blocks?
Transparent would be one way to say it. Yes.
I could see outside from here, and I didn't see like windows when I was approaching the building before.
That
From the outside.
From the other side, that's the illusion. There's an illusion that covers those so that people can't see them from outside.
Clever.
The blocks themselves, you could call it transparent. Father has another word for it that I don't remember right now because that's not really my specialty, but yeah, you could call it transparent.
Cool. I like it. All right, continue on.
Oh, okay. So you continue climbing, and after a little while, you enter up into the very top of the tower, and you come out, and it is just pretty much as you would have expected from what you saw on the ground. It is the entire top of the tower, which seems to have a stone core from what all the areas you've been through so far. This top area seems to be built out of wood, and there are huge rectangular panes of glass that surround the entire thing, 360 degrees. So giving you an amazing panoramic view of the ocean. You can actually see all the way back to Blackshore, and you can see the whole town just kind of laid out in miniature at the intersection of the two peninsulas that kind of hug the harbor. And you can see quite far out to sea. And make a perception check. 15. So if you recall, one of the things that you had noticed last session was that there were a number of vessels that were kind of loitering at the opening of the harbor. They're still there, and they've got their sails are furled, so it's just the bare mast. These are somewhat larger craft than fishing craft. These appear to be seagoing transport craft, kind of similar to the one that you came in on, in fact. And their sails are furled, and they seem to be actually at anchor right now, kind of right around the mouth of the harbor. So, in fact, you would guess it's probably the same ones that you saw earlier in the day. So it seems to be the same number. There's 4 of them, and they seem to be in roughly the same position as you remember.
I'm not sure if Torin's ever been 100 feet in the air. I'm not sure how he feels about it. This is higher than any gnome should rightly be. No offense, Goldrin. So Goldrin.
Let me finish with what's going on in this room. So your breath is kind of taken away for a minute by the panorama in front of you, and you kind of tear yourself away from that a little bit, and you look around the room itself. It's a largely bare room. There are a few in the floor, set in the floor. There are some levers that are about gnome high. Like so a gnome would literally have to grab the lever with both hands and like almost bodily move them in order to throw the lever one way or another. There are a few of those set around in the floor around the room. And then right in the very center of the room itself is this sparkling green crystal that actually goes from floor to ceiling. It's quite large. And it's made up of a number of interwoven shards of crystal, making one big mass of green crystal. And it's set on what looks like a lazy Susan, almost like a round table. That's what it sits on the floor, and it looks like it actually will turn. And right now it's just sitting there. There's quite a bit of light refracted through it just from the sunlight coming through the windows, and that's what gives off that kind of sparkling green light that you saw from below. But otherwise, it doesn't appear to be illuminated. It doesn't appear to be giving out any beams of light or anything like that. It's not glowing or anything of that nature. But yeah, it's sitting right there, and it's in diameter. It's probably a good 6 feet. It's a good big, and floor to ceiling. It's a good big chunk of crystal.
Very cool. Aldrin, this is amazing.
Oh well, yeah, thank you. I like to think so.
So do these little levery bits turn the crystal in particular directions?
Yes, that's one of the things they do. Yeah, you can turn it 360 degrees around. You can stop it. You can turn it faster or slower. There's a number of different functions.
This must be a cool job.
It can get a little stifling sometimes. Like I enjoy it for the first week, and then when I've been here for longer, I get a little stir crazy sometimes.
So you mentioned that part of your job here is you're on watch. What are you watching for?
Oh well, mostly I just mean I operate the light every night. That's really what it means, and I make sure the place doesn't burn down or anything like that.
That's good. That's good. So every so often throughout the day, you have to use one of these levers to change where the light is positioned.
Just at night. So, well, if you won't be here at night probably because you're headed back. Well, you'll see it. Look after the sun goes down. Look back at the lighthouse. You'll see it.
That's exciting. And I have one more question for you, and then we could go back downstairs where I can enjoy more bread. When I was walking here, I noticed 4 idle ships, and I don't know like the patterns around here. I don't know what's normal. You know, I'm a newbie. And their masts were down, and they were just hanging out there. And I see that they're still there, and it's been most of the day. Is that normal?
And he goes over and to the windows and gets right up to one of the panes of glass and kind of looks out. Oh, they're becalmed. So the winds are blowing north to south right now, so they can't actually. It prevents them from sailing into the harbor because the way the mouth of the harbor is, if the winds are blowing north to south, it will blow them out to sea. So they can't get in. So they just sit and wait for the winds to change.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yes, that's all they're doing.
That's normal. That's really interesting. Like the waterway that I'm used to, we didn't really have this issue, but different areas. So this is normal?
That's normal, yeah. You see that every now and again, especially this time of year. Not so much in the wintertime, but yeah, now in summertime, yeah, it happens quite a bit.
Am I supposed to know what a pecan means?
He said they're becalmed.
Oh, becalmed. That's different.
That's not really what they are, but
We'll go with it.
calmed means technically means there's no wind. So you imagine he must be using kind of a local slang of some sort.
Okay.
Because he's using it to mean that they can't get through the wind.
Mhm. Well, thank you for showing me up here. I enjoyed the exercise. I'm sweating everywhere, which is great. I like your job. I like your job. Sounds peaceful.
I mean, it's not my job per se. I mean, I have my own things, but when the rest of the family's gone, I'm one of the youngest, so I kind of get stuck with it.
Mm,
The only one that's younger is my sister, and nobody really trusts her yet because she's really young. So I get stuck with a lot of it.
gotcha. And what do you use the rest of the buildings for? It seems like you have a pretty like extensive complex.
Oh,
Are there
those
any?
buildings. Yeah. So you'll find out was your room is actually out one of those. So we use it for guest housing for one thing. There are like my cousin is out there right now. He's one of the only other family members that's here right now. He likes to stay away. He likes to be away from everybody else, and we kind of let him do that
Mhm.
because nobody wants to bother him. So yeah, his quarters are out there as well, and he does his work out there as well. And then yeah, and so there's a lot of work storage and work spots and things of that nature.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm ready to head back down unless there's something else you want to show me up here.
Uh, I mean, I can not up here. No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I can show you the. If we go down one level, I can show you a little bit of the mechanism that turns.
That would be cool.
Okay, we can do that. All right.
Where did you guys get this crystal from? I've never seen a crystal this green or this big.
Oh, that came from my grandfather. I'm not really sure. You could probably ask my dad, and he would know, but I don't remember the story per se.
Okay. All right.
Let's go then. Yeah, it's just downstairs. Well,
All right.
just
Cool.
back down one flight, and he kind of bounces his way back
Yep.
toward the stairs.
Like you do.
It starts going down, and you go down one level, and indeed there is a large mechanism here. Lots of cogs and pulleys, and you're pretty confident that you could figure out what's going on here if you spent a couple hours in here. You could probably figure out how it all works. It's a big clockwork mechanism right underneath the turntable that holds the crystal. And you do see several what appear to be, you recognize pretty much right away. They're a type of drive shaft that comes off. There's several of them that come off, and they go through the walls, and they are. You can actually see them sort of spinning slowly, and some of them are vibrating. Right, you can see that right now.
Cool. Any are any of the materials that I see with like these that the mechanic works unfamiliar to me? Any of the materials look unfamiliar?
There's nothing that there's nothing that jumps out as like, whoa, what's that? Like each individual piece you look at and you're like, okay, yeah, I know that's a cog, and that's a block and tackle, and
I know what a cog is. It's in the name.
that's an inclined plane. Simple machines. Anyway, taking us back to elementary school.
Right.
You know what everything is. You just would have to spend a little bit of time to actually put it together and to develop a working model of how exactly it works. Or somebody would have to stand there and explain it to you for however long.
Yep. Yep. Very nice, dude. So this is the innards, huh?
This is, yeah, you could call it the innards, sure. I don't know if I'd say that around my dad, but yeah.
Oh, where is your dad, by the way? You keep mentioning him.
Off on all the families off on their individual projects. This is how it usually is. They travel a lot doing their things. They all have different interests and specialties. So
Well, it's nice that this community is flexible. Adventure is important, and projects are also quite important.
yeah, we think so.
But if you didn't have to be at this lighthouse, are there projects that you would like to work on?
That's what I do when I'm not stuck. I didn't say stuck. When I'm privileged to maintain the family property
It's
and
okay, Goldrin. I got you. It's all right.
good. Okay. So yeah, that's what actually uh my quarters are 3 buildings away from where you're gonna be. We can swing by there real quick if you want on the way to getting you settled into your quarters.
Yeah, that would
I'll
be
show
great.
you a little bit. Is that you want to do that, or did you want to
Mhm.
get some more food first, or
I'll grab another loaf of bread on my way through.
okay? The kitchens, you can always come back to the kit. There's no kitchens in your quarters. It's actually kind of sparse, kind of Spartan in your quarters, but I mean, it is what it is. But you can come back to the quarters or the kitchen anytime and get whatever you
How
need.
how would I get in? That was a really fancy door.
Okay. I will show you when we get down to the door.
All
Oh,
right.
there's one other thing I wanted to get. Let's go down. There's one other thing I have to actually. Can you just meet me down there? There's one thing I need to grab for you before we head out.
Sure. I'll meet you down there.
I'm gonna actually go down 3 floors to 9 real quick, and I'll meet you right down there. You
Okay.
kind of
All right.
bounds away much faster than you, just kind of bounds down and disappears around the corner of the spiral staircase.
You wearing pants? Like pants or shorts?
Make a perception check.
10.
10? You
Yeah.
can't. You don't know. He's wearing
I
in
don't know
the
if he's wearing pants.
he was wearing the robe, and you can't tell if
Oh,
he's
okay.
wearing pants under that. That's what the
I
perception is for. Yeah, he's wearing pure white robes. And you can't quite get a peek under it to see if like there's a cuff of a pant leg or something like that.
I'm just gonna assume that he's got springs for legs and leave it at that. Just move on. We're gnomes. We make cool things all the time.
So he's gone. He disappeared around the bend. You continue on your way down. You get down to the back to the curving spiral hallway, and you take that back out, and it eventually leads you back to the informal dining room. The food and everything is still there. You take at the bottom of the stairs. You pick up your pack and Monty and all that stuff. And a few minutes later, you look up, and from the formal dining room that you could see through the door, you see another gnome just standing in the doorway looking at you. And you kind of get the impression that it's a female gnome, and you kind of get the impression that she's been standing there looking at you for a minute before you noticed her. And she's almost as tall as Goldrun. She's just about level with you. She might even be a little bit taller. Also blonde hair, and she's got 2 enormous pigtails that come out of the back, that come down from the back, and they actually bow out, and they look like a giant set of horns almost coming off the back of her head, and they've got 2 pink ribbons, a pink ribbon on the end of each one.
Huge.
And she's got big eyes and these big apple cheeks, like these big apple chipmunk cheeks. And she's got a very upturned, like a pert upturned nose, like it actually turns
Yep.
up at a noticeable angle. And she seems to have, as she's looking at you, she seems like she's looking sort of down her nose at you, which is kind of that combined with her upturned nose to begin with, is kind of almost unfortunate because it gives you a view like a straight up her nostrils.
Yep.
But that's the way.
Yep.
That's the kind of the way she seems to look at you, and she's kind of looking at you out of the bottoms of her eyes. And she just kind of is staring at you at the moment.
Hi there. You must be Goldrin's sister. I'm Torin. How are you doing today? And this is Monty.
I'm doing okay. Torin, you said?
Yes, Wobblecog of the Wobblecog clan.
I
We're not
think
from around here.
I think I heard something about you being expected.
Mhm. Yep,
I think
Kelsa sent me.
father and mother said something about it. You said you met Goldrin already?
Yeah, he's upstairs. He's gonna meet me down here in a minute.
All right then. I'm Semalisma Glimmerglass.
Nice to meet you.
You can
I don't
call
know
me
what a
you can call me Lizzie if you want. Nobody calls me Lizzie, but you can.
cool. Nice to meet you, Lizzie. It's a cool name. So, what was it like growing up in a giant lighthouse?
Probably like growing up anywhere else, I would imagine.
Hmm,
Just it's the growing up with a family of rock gnome wizards that's a little weird.
fair. That is fair. We can be quite strange.
And she's still kind of looking down her nose at you. And her eyes are kind of, you notice her eyes are, number one, they're big to begin with, and she's also just a tiny bit bug-eyed as well. And so she's kind of, and she's staring at you intently. So it kind of makes you a little uneasy almost.
She's got the best pair of gnome features going for her. All right, I'm gonna ask her. Is there something that you need?
No, I just heard some doings in the dining room, and I thought I'd figure out what Goldrin was doing. But it turns out it's not Goldrin at all.
Just me. Um, I'm gonna go to the dining room where there was the loaf of bread. Would you like to sit with me?
All right. And she kind of, you notice that when she walks over, she glides over. Like she's very graceful. She's skinny like Goldrin is too, and she's very graceful. But then when she sits down, you notice that she's got the same kind of tick where Goldrin bounces from one leg to another. She actually bounces up and down when she sits. You didn't notice that she was very still when she was standing, but when she's sitting, you notice she's kind of lightly bouncing up and down the whole time she's sitting.
It must be really hard for you to eat food with you bouncing up and down when you're at the table. It must be challenging.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Fair. All right, I see nothing. Um, yeah, nice playhouse.
So what is it that you're doing here? Torin, was it?
Yeah, yeah. So Kelsa sent me out here for a couple of reasons.
Who's Kel?
Um, she was a teacher of mine. She made these spectacles, and I pull up these spectacles and I show these spectacles. These help me to read. No, that doesn't sound smart, but I said it anyway. Um, so there are a couple of things that the priestlyhood, Medine, I hope. Um,
You're a priest of Medine.
yes, yes. I show my little the tri hammer that's around my neck. Yeah,
You notice,
it's a good faith.
when you say that and you pull out the symbol, you notice that she doesn't stop bouncing, but she leans forward and seems more intent than she was before.
Nice. Yeah, so we're here to explore, like, we heard that there's a trade route going through here, and we wanted more information, and there's science. For example, I found this giant tooth on my way here. I show the giant tooth.
Where
You
did you
know,
find that monstrosity?
on my way here this morning, I passed a boat that was capsized on the south side of the shore. It had a giant bite mark taken out of it, and this was in one of the wooden planks, one of the beams.
So gross.
Yep, yep, that's Mother Nature for you. I've never seen a tooth this big. I almost need a bigger backpack.
That came out of something's mouth. That's disgusting.
You love science, I can tell.
Well, not that kind of science anyway.
Hmm. What kind of science do you like?
Well, I would say that the arcane science is the most interesting one.
I had a lot
rather,
of classmates
I
that were into
rather,
that.
I rather like the planes in particular.
There's a lot to the plans.
Indeed.
I never really got into it in school. It was too complicated.
Ah, I see. What did you go to school for again?
Would that be what my religion would be? Forge cleric? Out of character?
Yeah, it'd be so. Yeah, it'd be a combination of the priesthood and yes, metal work and that sort of stuff. The crafting aspect of blacksmithing and metalworking and so forth. Engineering, if you will.
So I went to school for crafting all kinds of stuff, like engineering. I like metals. I like woodworking, leathers. Um, I like working with the mechanical aspects of things, trying new things.
Oh,
I never really was very good at glass working, so this is really interesting to me. But like, I was really good at metals and stuff.
did you see the top of the lighthouse?
I did. It was amazing.
I thought that might be to your interest.
Yeah,
Well,
I
yes, if you want to know more about that, you'd have to talk to Father. He's not here right now. I'm sure Goldrin told you.
yeah, yeah. He might be back sometime. You guys, it sounds like this clan does a lot of their own projects and is often wandered away, and then you guys meet back. Is that correct?
Yes. Where did Goldrin wander away to?
I think he said he was going to like the third floor down or something, and he was gonna bring something to me.
Hmm. All right. I wonder what's taking him so long. Well, no matter.
Should we check on him?
No, I'm sure he'll be fine.
Okay. All right. So, are you guys taught how to do the glass working like from a young age?
No, not glassworking. Some of us know how to do glassworking. Not me in particular.
This is different. So, what's your favorite thing to do around here while I'm enjoying this awkward science with this very suspicious little girl?
Around here, all I do around here is study and do whatever foolish chores that the family thinks up for me.
Mm.
But other than that, I'd like to go out on my skiff every now and again. I'm a bit of a devotee of wind magic, so that's helpful when one has a sail.
Yeah, that is true. Is there any particular plane that you enjoyed learning about the most? There's a lot to learn.
There is. I rather like. hmm, I rather like the plane that is associated with the elf, the plane of travelers and explorers. You know the elf constellation.
Not really, not really. But I would love to learn.
Well, they keep me here in the tower. My quarters are up on the fourth floor. You're welcome to stop by anytime. I have charts and treatises about the planes littered all over the place. If you'd like to talk sometime, I'll be there most of the time when I'm in the tower. They don't let me travel too much on account of my age. It's unfortunate, really.
Well, maybe on one of my outings today, I have to go to report stuff. Maybe they'll let us walk together. Might be good to get away from here, but I have to talk to your family, of course.
Who in particular?
Who would I have to talk to?
Of my family, yes.
I would assume I'd probably have to bring it up with your parents.
Yes, you'll probably meet them at some point. I don't know when they'll be back. They don't necessarily stick to the strictest of timelines, but they are the ones that I suppose invited you here, or are hosting you here would be more accurate. So yes, I'm
I'm
sure
like
they'll.
I'm like a foreign exchange student right now.
Yes, that's pretty close to what you are. Yes.
Oh, cool. Well, I will keep waiting here. Do you have anything other than bread in this kitchen before you leave?
Certainly, we have ample stores. We have so many mouths to feed that we keep a lot on hand at any given time. There are also certain magical means that we have to procure food when we need it. So, were you interested in anything in particular?
And an apple and a slab of meat.
Apple and a slab of meat. Very well. You notice she kind of looks down for a second. She actually looks down, so she's not looking down her nose at you at the moment. And she kind of closes her eyes about halfway, makes a gesture with her hand and says something under her breath, snaps her fingers, and then sits back in her chair and crosses her arms. And simultaneously, from the door that leads to the spiral hallway, these two things happen at the same time. Goldrin comes bursting out, carrying a very small wooden chest in his hands. And from out of the door that he went into to get the bread and the pitchers and so forth, a large platter comes floating, levitating out the door with three apples and a large slab of what looks like beef on one side of it. And it comes out and it floats out, and Goldrin and the platter are coming out simultaneously and come out, and you actually see him start he's kind of almost blindsided by this floating platter, and he literally jumps up and back like 4 feet, just boing. You in your mind you hear that boing sound again as he leaps out of the way, and he lets out a little terrified squeal. And you kind of glance over real quickly, and you see that Lizzie has a smirk on her face as this happens. And the platter kind of floats over right next to you and kind of lowers itself onto the table.
Can I do an arcana check to see if I can recognize the spell?
Sure.
11. Probably not, but I tried. Science.
You are unfamiliar with this particular arcane manifestation.
Cool trick.
So Goldrin kind of recovers his composure a little bit and kind of smooths down his robe, and he almost dropped the chest that he was carrying, but he kind of recovered it. And he says, "Oh, I see you've met Smelly." And Lizzie's like, "Don't call me that."
Smelly, huh?
And so he kind of Goldrin gets a smirk on his face now, and he walks over to you at the table and sets the small chest down right in front of you. Well, I found it. It took me forever to find it in the attic, but I did it. You're gonna need this. So the fire faces. Incidentally, yeah, interesting story behind them. Did you get a look at their backs by any chance?
They ran after Monty. I don't know if I remembered anything in particular about their backs.
When I say
Just
their
that they were
back,
orange.
I mean, kind of their tops, really, because basically be the top of their shell. So it's real hard to see when you're on the ground. You didn't get a look at that at all. I mean, it might
No, I
have.
don't.
You would have had to have seen it from above, maybe, to notice. Oh, it was so. Anyway, it's interesting. This is kind of touches on my specialty a little bit. So yeah, they that fire color that's all over their shells kind of gets real intense at one spot on the back of their shells, and people say that there's a pattern there that looks like people's faces. There's all kinds of stories. There's all kinds of stories going around that's like the trapped souls of people who drowned to death in the ocean. And at this point, Semalisma slaps her hand on the table, making a loud thwack, and she says, "You're boring our guest, Goldrin." Goldrin just kind of stops himself. Okay, right. Yeah, that stuff kind of does tend to bore a lot of people. So yeah, if you have any questions about it though, like anything to do with animals and that kind of thing, that's something that, well, I was going to show you my quarters. You'll see what I
Okay.
have. Especially the supernatural ones. But okay, anyway. So
I love him.
what I've got here is something that'll help you with the crabs. Because you're going back that way, and chances are you're going to run into more of them, or at least maybe the one that you saw, because you said it's still there, right?
Yeah.
It built its lair right there in that boat. Yeah. So
Mhm.
you're going to need this. Okay. So you know what? Plants are not my thing, but yeah. So you'd have to talk to. You'd probably have to talk to our cousin, actually the one that's here, Karamatro Glimmerglass, but he doesn't talk to anybody, and I don't recommend trying to talk to him. But plants are his thing, so he could explain this. So I can't. So I'm just going to tell you how you use it. All right. So this is a plant fiber. If you burn it, it will produce a dense, thick smoke. And if you can direct it, the fire faces, they hate the smell of it. So it'll drive them away. So you can get, from what's right here, you can get a number of doses of it. So if you can, I mean, it's you have to kind of direct it into the wind, because even though it's real thick and real pungent, I guess, if the wind is going the other way, you're just going to blow it into your own face. You want to blow it into the fire faces. So yeah, definitely beware of that. So yeah, all you do is light a tinder to it and start it burning. It'll do its work. Just take a portion of it, like a gnome's handful is enough for one use. So just a little bit,
Okay.
and then there's more than enough for several uses in the chest here.
Okay.
So definitely take that. You're going to need that. And he flips the lid closed and pushes the chest over towards you. Okay, so I'm going to show you. We're going to get you settled. Yeah, I'll give you the rest of the information when you're ready to leave. All right, so let's go. Leave Smelly alone. She's no fun anyway. And you can see she gets her forehead wrinkles all up, and she gets this staring daggers look right at Goldrin.
Do you have any pouches that I can put these plant fibers in, so that I'm not carrying this chest around before we leave?
Yeah, sure. And he kind of reaches into one of the many pockets that you've seen on the road.
I figured.
Oh yeah, here you go. And he gives you a small sack that you can put. It's a canvas sack that you can put that into.
So it's all organized. I need it. Thanks. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Well, let's get you out to your new quarters. And all right, come on. And he heads back out toward the door.
Nice meeting you, Lizzie.
Oh, Lizzie. Call her Smelly. And Lizzie is sitting. She's still sitting at the table with her arms crossed, and she says, "Nice to meet you as well, Torin." You've left her behind, and you're heading out to the front door. Goldrin unlocks the latches, opens up the front doors, turns around. You walk out. He turns around, closes them back up, and oddly, you hear from the other side. Like immediately after he closes the door. Okay, so I told you I was going to show you this. Here's what you do. If you're on the outside, you don't have a key. Now you see there is keyholes here. So if you have a key, then that's good. If you don't have a key, what you do is you press here, here, and here. And he shows you 3 spots and when he pushes on these particular spots on the door, you actually hear like a click, click, click. And from the other side of the door, you hear the latches unlock.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. Here, and here.
Yep. You got it. So remember that, and you'll be able to get in anytime. Okay. That's good. And he kind of bounces off. He's bounding out towards some of the outbuildings. And you go out. You go out a couple of buildings. This one's buying right here. Let's take a look at that first. Then yours is right over there. We'll go to that one next. This is a pretty simple 1-story affair. It's fairly wide, though. You estimate it's probably about 40 by 40 or so. Only the 1-story. This is one of the ones that has that weird mottled snakeskin look to it.
Okay.
So as you're getting close enough to go in the front door, go ahead and make a perception check.
20. The 22.
Nice. Okay.
See if it matters.
As you're closer, it resembles less snakeskin like it did from far away. And it looks more like it almost looks like just basically wear and tear. And you can see it's a pattern of wear and tear. So you can see that what it is it just hasn't been whitewashed recently. And for some reason it's black showing through the white paint, the white coat of paint. And you kind of get closer and you look, and you would be familiar with this from the background of Medine, so you would know about like construction techniques and stuff like that. You look at it and you realize that what it is it's a form of adobe.
Yep, the black sand.
It's black sand.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And then it's been whitewashed over, and the ones that have that mottled look just haven't been painted recently, and they're kind of it's kind of wearing away.
Clever use of resources, Goldrin. Sand.
Oh yeah, it works pretty well out here. The tower is built of sturdier stuff, but I mean that's kind of the center of the whole operation. So.
Cool.
All right,
and if there were things about the fire face crab of faces that you would like to share, I like not dying. So if there's anything special you want me to know, I would love to know it.
Oh, okay. Sure. Well, yeah. Let's go inside. We can talk about that inside. He pulls out a key ring from inside of his robe. It's got quite a number of keys on it. And he goes through it, selects one, puts it in the door, in the lock of the door, click, opens it up. That's a regular sized door in this building. And you go inside, and inside immediately what it looks like is less of someone's living space and more like a taxidermy shop. So he's got all kinds of stuff around here. A lot of it you don't even recognize. Very few of them are mundane types of animals. Uh, they're either they either have something monstrous about them, or it's like a mundane type of animal with something added to it, like weird mutations or something like that.
Yep.
So you see, there are several, like half a dozen uh, tiny winged creatures that look almost like bats, but they have these huge stingers on their noses. And they're little, they're small. They're only like about the size of your hand, but there are half a dozen of them stuffed and pinned to one of the walls. There are a number of things that look like big cats with tentacles growing out of them. There's just a plethora of weird specimens in here, more than your senses can really even take in all at once. And then kind of there's workbenches and tools and so forth that you assume are for taxidermy. There's a big bookcase on one side with a whole number of treatises and volumes of books. You're not really close enough to look to see any titles just yet, but that's over on one side. And then just in a tiny little corner that you finally see what must be his living space. There's a table, there's a bed, there's a small wardrobe sitting there. There's some discarded dirty boots kind of thrown off to one side. His living quarters are not that tidy. You get the sense that he's not really here, or he's not really using that space all that much. He probably goes there, flops down to go to sleep, and that's about it. Stores some of his personal belongings there. So yeah, this is pretty much what I got going on. Ever since I was a kid, my mama was reading storybooks to me, and I liked monsters. So that's what my subsection of the family library is right over there, and that's pretty much all about monsters. And I collect whatever I can. Some of these I'm pretty sure are fakes, but some of them I think are real.
Did you collect any of these yourself?
No, I bought them.
That's safer.
Probably yes.
Which one do you like the most?
That's a good question. This one's real weird. He kind of takes you over a little further down, and you look up, and he's kind of looking at an old leather cloak that's hanging on a coat hook, a peg, just above the workbench. The workbench is right in front, and then he's looking up at this cloak. What do you think of that?
Is it anything that I've ever seen before?
You would likely not have seen anything unusual about a cloak before. No.
All right.
I'm really puzzled as to what the hell he's talking about.
What are you talking about?
This right here. Isn't it fascinating?
Still pointing to the cloak?
He's looking right at the cloak, yeah.
Tell me about this cloak.
Oh. It's not a cloak. Okay. So I take it you've never heard of one of these before. Okay. And he reaches out, and he kind of grabs one of the edges of it, and he pulls it back. And on the inside, you can see there's a toothed mouth and two eye holes on the inside of the cloak. This is some sort of weird creature. There's that's an actual orifice with fangs.
I'm gonna have nightmares now, Goldrin. I won't lie.
Yeah, isn't it fascinating?
Yeah.
So some people do call that a cloaker. So So there's actually, yeah, there's a whole. I got a whole treatise over there on the taxonomy and the anatomy of this thing. It does have a little bit of well, it did when it was alive. It does have a little bit of magic to it too. It has sort of. Do you know anything about how bats see?
You want me to roll for it? An intelligence check? 15 on intelligence. I'm guessing yes.
15 on intelligence. Okay.
They scream in the air, and
Yeah,
that tells them where to go.
yeah. So yeah, that's basically what you say. Yeah, that's pretty much right. So this thing has something similar, um, but more powerful. And so it's really freaking weird, honestly. So anytime it gives out its little scream that it uses to see, and something else, another creature is around, uh, it does something to the fear centers of whatever it can hear it, and sometimes it just makes. I've seen uh, reports of these things just making people like strong and hardy knights in armor just scatter in all directions. That's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
So these things usually live underground, and I was lucky to get this. I mean, I guess luckily our family has a lot of money because this set me back a pretty penny. My allowance was really hurting when I bought this. Let me tell you.
That's cool. Do you have anything here about the crab?
Yeah, there's a few things. There's not really a whole lot. I mean, the most interesting thing about them is probably the folklore about the souls and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
They're really just big crabs with a kind of a weird shell. There's nothing really particularly strange about them other than their size.
If I'm in a position where I have to kill one, are there pieces of it that you would like as a souvenir?
Yeah, I'd love some.
Like a leg or something?
Yeah, whatever you can get back.
All right. Hopefully, I won't find myself in a situation to fight one of those things, but if I do, I'll try to bring you back a leg.
Yeah, they're pretty dangerous. Those pincers are pretty dangerous. So I've heard them taking the limb, they can take an arm or a leg right off. So you gotta be careful.
Yes. Good times, good times. All right. So where's my space?
Oh, yeah, you're just a couple buildings down. Do you want to go over there now? I'll show you that.
Sure.
All right, let's go.
I like your dwelling though, by the way. It's a nice
Oh,
dwelling.
yeah, stop by anytime, or if you find any more. I mean, that tooth is pretty cool. I mean, it doesn't look like it's anything special, but it's pretty damn big. If you want, you can leave it here. I'll take care of it for you. I mean,
Let me think about it. Let me think about it. I think that my professors at school would probably want it, but let me think about it. I know you take good care of your stuff. Hi, cat. Come back here. Come back.
okay, yeah, no problem. Just let me know. And he heads out back out the door. And as you join him outside, he closes the door, locks it back up. Oh, yeah, we're right over here. It's just 3 buildings right over here. And you go down to that one. This is a smaller building. It's a glorified shed, really. But it's got a chimney on it that appears to have some sort of fireplace inside, from what you can tell. This one is the white paint on it is just bad. Like it hasn't been attended to in quite some time. So it's looking really mottled. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't have a key for this, but I'm pretty sure it's unlocked right now. If you want to lock it, we can probably find the key for it. We'll have to look. I'll have to look for it back up at the tower, though. There is a bar on the inside, so when you're in there, you can bar it from the inside.
Okay.
Yeah, you would really just have to leave it unlocked though when you're not here. So until we can find you that key.
Is
So
the
yeah,
lighthouse generally, sorry, is the lighthouse generally secure? Like if I find something of note and I want it to be in a locked space, would my best bet to be to leave it in the lighthouse when I'm not around, or to leave it in like give it to you temporarily? Like
yeah, give
sometimes I run into some random stuff that might be important.
sure, you can give it the best bet. Just bring it down to me. And I do have a lock safe that I
Okay.
keep things. So there are some things that I have that are probably best not to leave laying around. So yeah,
All right.
I can do that for you.
All right. Cool.
All right, yep, here it is. Go right in. The front door is unlocked.
Um, how much time do I have before dinner time?
You got a couple hours. Yeah, you got here at noon, and then you've just been kind of, it's been maybe a couple hours of messing around. So you got probably three hours or so.
One more question, Goldrin, before you continue on your day. Um, what is the activity level of the fire face crabs? Do they tend to be more active at night? Do we know?
That's a good question. So they are they seem to be adapted to high and low tide. So they will come out at high tide and go back into not really, they'll go back into whatever lair they have. Some of them actually have outer shells, interestingly enough. Like, those crabs that find shells and go into them?
Yeah.
They do that too.
Hmm.
And they're, which makes me wonder what creatures are big enough to leave a shell behind that a fireface can get into. But in any case, I digress. You know what? Now that I think about it, that must be what it was doing with the hollowed out boat that you found. Is it was making it was making a shell out of it. Okay, that's interesting. So it tells you you kind of sense that he's going to get off on a long tangent here. So yeah, that's really interesting. That shows that they can use items other than natural shells and so forth as their habitation. I wonder what else made by humans and demi-humans could be used by them. You know,
And can you?
are you going to say something?
Yes.
Yeah. So you might, if you get the sense, you might want to interrupt him here, and
Yep.
before he
Yep.
goes on and on and on.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, he tells you that uh, even though the tide is low, it doesn't mean they're inactive. It just means that they sort of retreat back into wherever they've found. So if you disturb them in their lair, however, whether you're too noisy or throw or chuck a piece of driftwood at their lair, that that's gonna bring them out.
You don't say. Okay. All right, great. And the only other thing that I'm going to ask you for, if possible, do you have any like leather scraps? Because I've been working on a project with Monty when I have downtime, and I might have some downtime before I have to leave today. I'm trying to make armor plating for Monty.
Oh well, I could give you leather, but it's gonna be weird leather. It's
What
gonna
kind of
be
weird leather?
like monster leather. I don't know how good armor that would make.
I will take
Um,
this into thought. I will think about this.
okay, yeah, we don't really have. I mean, because we don't really keep horses or anything, so we don't have saddles out here.
Hmm.
So yeah, we either sail, walk, or you know, do the magic stuff.
Hmm. I like the magic stuff.
Yeah,
All right.
I can't do that yet, unfortunately, but
Your sister can.
she can do a few things. Yeah, she's pretty good at it. Don't tell her I said that.
I won't. Don't worry. All right, great. Well, thanks, good Goldrin.
Oh, you're
Appreciate
welcome,
it.
and welcome to the Glimmerglass Lighthouse.
I will let you guys know when I leave if you would like. So somebody random isn't scrambling through the house and making anybody nervous.
Sure. Well, if you wanted to eat a quick bite for dinner before you leave, we'll be serving dinner as well. So I mean,
Okay.
it'll basically going to be me and Smelly. So, I mean, a third is always welcome to join.
Okay. Sounds great. Sounds great. I'll be there.
Okay. Well, I'll see you later then. And he goes bounding off back toward the tower.
Monty, what strange people.
And you kind of see him turn around as he gets several yards away. He goes, "Oh, yeah, come to dinner. I got to give you a name of people and point you towards the people to talk to back in town." So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a simple conversation. It'll be fine. Come to dinner.
All right.
And he turns and heads off.
I mean, they seem nice enough. I talked to Monty. All right, so I'm gonna enter the space and I'm not gonna like unpack everything, but just try to lighten the load of stuff that I won't necessarily need to survive. Because it's hot outside and I don't feel like carrying extra crap.
Yeah. All right. So you walk inside, and it's a wooden door. The hinges are just about shot. It's real creaky, and they're kind of loose. Like you almost are afraid when you open the door that the hinges are about to pop right off. The inside, yeah, it's inside. It's adobe. There is a stone fireplace on one side. It looks like there's actually a setup, a rack where you could a rack and a spit where you could actually cook there if you wanted. You would probably just need a pot or a cauldron of some sort. There doesn't seem to be one in here. There is some wood paneling over the adobe in one section, along with what looks like was once a bookshelf with a couple of bookshelves, but the shelves are basically gone now, and you can just kind of see the brackets where they were mounted. And some brackets and some nails and stuff that are kind of still sticking in the wood paneling. There's a small room that's a privy that's kind of divided off by a partition, a wooden partition, and then there's a bed, a table, and a bench, seated bench where the seat lifts up like a lid, and there's a storage space inside there.
Cool.
So, it's pretty bare. Other than that, it's actually a hard packed dirt floor, earthen floor. So there's no paneling or anything on the floor. It's just hard packed dirt, and there's not even like a rug or anything like that in here. So it's pretty bare.
Yeah, it's a roof. I don't know if Torrens ever had worse, but there could be worse. So after I like fluff the pillows the way that I like them, and I take my shoes off and I stretch my feet out for a little bit, I would like to spend some time mending the door hinge.
The hinges, yes, easy enough that you can do that, no problem.
Because no forged clerk is going to have a squeaky door.
So you managed to get it nice and smooth and working in perfect working order. That's super easy for you to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gets me
not a
working.
problem. Yep. In fact, the hinges are even shiny now.
I figured. All right, so I wrote myself a small list. Like I'm gonna need to ask for like a cauldron and a small bowl for me and Monty for us to have here. But I'll ask for those when we're ready to go. I just think Torrin should relax for like until dinner time and then go to work because it's been a long day.
Absolutely. So if you have anything to get back, you can consider that to be a short rest. So
Okay.
I don't know if you spent anything or if you regain anything.
I did not, and I think my blessing of the forge +1 to AC is how I'm choosing to do it is by long rest, and I'm fine with that being there. I like being an AC 16. I live a little longer.
Yep. Yes. Yep. So you do get in a short rest, whether that really comes to a benefit or not. You do whatever you want to leave here, you can leave here. if you want to start a separate inventory list for your room, you can do that.
Um, so mending, can mending also, oh, you know what I could do? Huh. Um, so I think I would like to, you said it's like the bare earthen floor. I think I would like to mark it someplace, like in a fancy, like ritualized way that this is like my church's space. Like this is mine.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I want to do it in a way that I could fix the mending spell later,
That you can. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I had like a little
Yeah,
tinkerer's hammer, like I could do a little thing.
yeah, if you want to make some like a sigil or something in the dirt, yeah, it would be easy enough to make a marking or carve something into the dirt. Yeah, that's easy enough.
Okay. Yep.
If you want to
That's
make
the one thing I want to do.
if you want to make like the symbol of like the tripartite hammer or something like
Mhm.
that. Yep,
Yep.
easy enough.
Yep. Cool. All right, Monty, what do you think? You hungry? All right, we're ready.
All right, so you're
We
gonna
had
head over.
our short rest.
Yep. So you come out and it is getting the sun obviously has gone down a little bit, so it's not quite as oppressively hot right now. And also the sea breeze seems to have picked up quite a bit. Still coming from the north, you
Okay,
notice.
that's good. That's
So
the direction I needed to come from.
so it does cool you off even more. So you're actually quite a bit more comfortable at this point, being outside. And you start heading your way back over toward the tower. So a short walk later, you get back to the door. Um, do you want to try the 3-point combination that Goldrum showed you?
Do. Yes.
So you do that and click, click, click. Creak. And the doors open up, and you're able to go inside easily enough. And you can actually, as soon as the doors open, you actually get kind of hit in the face with the smell, with this delicious cooking smells. So you detect some cooking meat for sure in there. Maybe a little hint of onion, some spices. Um, Something smells good.
Cool.
You head inside to the informal dining room, and there are a number of places set. You notice right away that there are actually 4 places set. There are only 2 people in here currently. There's Goldrin and Senelisma.
Yep.
And they're both sitting at the table. Goldrin kind of has his arms crossed. He's sitting at the head of the table, so he's looking directly at you when you enter the room. And Semelisma is sitting at one of the on one of the sides of the table, and she's actually got a glass of wine in front of her, and she's kind of lazily sipping from it. And as you walk in, she turns her head and she tilts her head back into that familiar looking down the nose
Yep.
expression.
Yep. The smelly look.
And just kind of looks at you and very intently as usual. You're pretty sure that's kind of how she looks all the time. Pretty sure she always looks kind of intense. So, well, Goldrin speaks up. He stands up as he sees you walk into the room. Welcome once again, Torin. I hope you had a good rest, and we're glad you could join us for dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, sit down. This can be as long or as short as you want. I know you want to get out, so it can be. You can eat your fill and go if you want, or you can linger and digest for a little while. It's totally up to you. So have a seat.
I think I'll eat and then go quickly because I'm a little nervous about these crabs. I thought of a question on my way over here though, and I was wondering if you could help me.
Sure. Sit down and dig in and ask whatever questions you want.
Yep. For some reason, Torin likes apples. I've just decided, so he's got a pile of apples. So while I was at the city, Blackshore? Blackshore. Blackshore?
Yes,
Blackshore? Blackshore.
it is that
Um,
place.
I was sitting outside the city and looking at the fortress that was on the hill, and I kept hearing bells at like an irregular interval. Do you know what the bells are for? I couldn't figure it out.
Whereabouts were you?
I was outside the city, like, but looking towards the fortress that's on the hill, where guards and
Oh,
stuff around.
on the green, you mean?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
on the green.
So were you near the harbor or on the other side?
I was near the harbor.
Okay. It was the House of Wind and Song.
Okay.
So yeah, it's some people call it a temple, but it's more of a conservatory. And they attract a lot of the artistic type there. And one of the things they're known for is every morning they get I guess you could call it a choral group together, and they sing. They call it. They give everything fancy names. They call it the hymn to dawn. So
Okay.
they do it as the sun comes up every morning. I think they take one day a week off, but yeah, most days they're gonna do it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's sort of a conservatory playhouse artist commune type of thing that they've got going on there, and it's right there near the green and close to the harbor. So most of the time
Okay.
you're gonna, and you're always going to hear bells and chimes coming from there, even if they're not singing. You're always going to hear the bells and chimes. So
It sounded kind of nice, but I didn't want to ask and be rude because some people find things religious or time based, and you know, I already looked strange in this town, so
yeah, some of them might. There's some people who consider it kind of a temple almost, but those are the real pretentious ones. And most people are just they're just artists, well, for the most part, artists and performers.
um, so where should I go to talk about this crab and this tooth? And I still have the tooth because it really hits home what I'm talking about when I pull a tooth bigger than my torso.
Yes, it's from the reactions of these two gnomes, it does seem to yes. So yes, you're definitely going to want to tell somebody in authority, especially if fishermen have been killed, which you suspect they may have. So you're going to want to go to the watch station, any watch station, but yeah, particularly the main one, I would say would be your best bet because that's where the higher ups are going to be.
Where's the main one?
So that's going to be right off the main marketplace, the main square. And if you go the main thoroughfare that runs north south, which is Arumar Way, that will be if you go. Let me think. And Lizzie speaks up and she says 1 block north. And Goldrin is like that. Yes, that's right. 1 block north along Arumar Way from the marketplace. And there will be a building there. You kind of can't miss it because it looks like a guard station. Honestly, it looks kind of like a prison, so you can't miss it. So yeah, talk to anybody in the Appian Guard, and they should be able to help you. Whoever's there from the Appian Guard. Oh, so yeah, you're new. The Appian Guard are the ones with the yellow helmets and the yellow epaulets.
I noticed them, yeah.
And they're always armed and armored. That's them, and they keep the peace and they see to the defense of Blackshore. So those would be the ones you want to talk to.
What kind of guard did you call them?
They're the Appian Guard, so APIAN.
Okay. Got it.
And so yeah, that would be definitely it. If for some reason, I mean, if you talk to the Appian Guard, they should take care of alerting who needs to be alerted. But if for some reason something happens, or I mean, they don't. I mean, I would imagine they would believe you. You've got the tooth right there. But
Yeah.
if they do, you might want to tell the town council as well, and they're up in that castle that you were just talking about. And they usually have, if most of the time, the town council themselves is not there, but they have amanuenses, scribes, and secretaries and so forth that can take your statement.
Okay. Cool.
So, yeah, you definitely want to do that.
Okay. I will then.
Well, I mean, you're kind of helping us out of a jam too, because I can't leave, and honestly, nobody's going to believe Lizzie. And you can see her just cross her arms and like make a harumph noise as he says this. So yeah, so somebody needs to take this back. We don't want any more boats being eaten or fishermen being eaten or anything being eaten really.
Great.
So what my thing is, my curiosity is, if there's a shark that big swimming around out there, you would think that it would have to eat a lot more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So was that its first attack, or have there been other ones? I wonder. But the watch should know if any weird stuff has been going on lately, disappearances and stuff like that. They should know, so they would be the ones to, again. It all comes back to the watch. They would be the ones to go to.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. And I will finish my foodstuffs and get ready to go.
Okay. So as you finish up and stand up and begin sort of brushing yourself off and collecting your belongings, they both stand up as well. Oh well, you know where home is, Torin, at least in Blackshore.
Thanks. Thanks. It's good to have a home of sorts.
Indeed, and you're welcome to it. Well, I'm going to finish up here, and I look forward to seeing you back. And Semilisma says, I'll walk our guest to the door. And she starts gliding in that direction.
Like you do. It's a cool trick.
So you both of you get out to the door, and she unlocks it. Door is open.
Same combination? Same 3?
Not from the inside. So from the inside, she just takes a hold of the 2 locking mechanisms themselves and just gives it a little twist, and they open up. So doors swing open, and Lizzie turns to you. Well, looking at you again, down her nose. I must say, things are already more interesting with you around. It was getting awfully stuffy and boring around here. So
stuffy, huh?
If you need anything, like I said, I'm up on the 4th floor here. They don't let me out too much. And when they do let me out, I like to do my own thing. But I can help you out if you need it. Just let me know. There are things that I can do that maybe my family doesn't even know about.
Cool. Well, maybe I'll meet up with you tomorrow when things are less hectic.
Whenever you need something.
All right, cool. Cool.
Very well. Fare thee well. And she turns around, glides back in, closes the door, and you are left outside in the afternoon of a hot summer.
Is this a good spot?
If you like, yeah, it's almost 10:30, so